Chuck Pierce here. I am going to talk a little bit about how to set up modes, a launch mode and a landing mode for dinosaur rocketry Elevon boost gliders. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to show the DX9 and an OpenTX solution. On the DX9, what I've done is I use the flaps menu to set it up. There's really nothing special in either of these two things I'm doing, just a couple different ways to do it. So start with the DX9. And this one is set up for the dinosaur rocketry man in the high castle supersonic transport. So I've already got the program in here. So to set it up, what I have done is go to the setups menu. Let's see, under the channel assign. So what I've done is I have set the gear to channel 5. Well, gear doesn't matter actually. It's totally ineffective, not used. Flaps is on aux1 and it's on channel 6. And over on the next screen, in the channel inputs, you can see aux1. Since I have it set up for flaps, it doesn't allow to assign a switch to it, so the switch will be assigned to it over in the flaps menu. So if we get out of this mode and go back to the flaps menu, one click and go down to, well, of course I set this up as Elevon with the setup wizard, and then I told it that I had flaps. So set up flaps. Obviously there's not flaps on a 2-channel boost glider, but it's a cheap way to do this. So under flaps, I have set it up so that position 0 on switch A will be the launch mode. So the flaps will be neutral. That's where I trimmed it to. And position 1 will be the landing and glide mode. And you can see I have a preset. I have changed the Elevons to about 25% up. I also have it set for 3 seconds of transition time, which is actually a little bit slow, but it doesn't really matter because everything's going so slow at that point anyway. Let's see, and then just so it will enunciate whatever I want. Switch A, I tell it that for the down position, position 0, to announce that it's the launch mode, and then for position 1 to announce that it's the landing mode. So the launch mode, and landing mode. So that's really all it is to this very simple way to use the flaps menu to set up elevator presets for the launch and landing mode. Okay, and I have powered up the man in the high castle supersonic transport. So we see it here. So just to demonstrate, so I got the Elevons, we're in launch mode, which actually needs a little bit of down elevator. So it would boost to apogee. Then when you hit burnout and apogee and nose over, then you hit the switch and you get a little bit of up elevator. So really simple, and again, that's using the flaps menu. Okay, so now I have my OpenTX system, which is JumperT16. I have the dinosaur rocketry Avro Arrow, and I have already programmed this. I'm going to show you how I set it up. So I just did straight, simple mixes on this. Didn't try to set it up with flaps or anything like I had done with the DX9. So just to show you what I did. So I've got the Avro Arrow program already selected. Go into the setup and flip over to inputs. So I have it set up just very cleanly where channel 2 is the left servo. I'm sorry, it's actually the right servo. Elevator, channel 3 is the right servo. I'm sorry, is the left servo. And then channel 4, I'm making that the mode switch. So I'm just going to assign switch F to it, which is the lower left switch on this radio. So paging up one more time to mixes. What I have done here is you can see, looking at channel 2, that aileron, and I've tuned it down just a little bit because I don't need as much aileron as I need elevator on a Delta Wing, because when they get a little nose heavy, you need as much elevator control as you can get. So I took about 25% off of that. So I'm running my ailerons at about 75%. And then the elevator, I have full throws at 100%. And I am using switch F to cycle between launch mode and landing mode. So you can see over on the right hand side, I've called the switch down, which is the up arrow, is the launch mode for the right servo, and then the elevator will go into landing mode when the switch is toggled to the up position. And similarly, over on channel 3, I'm doing the same exact thing. Of course, the polarity is different on the two aileron channels, or the aileron positions. But elevators are done exactly the same. So I have a launch mode and a landing mode, and using switch F to go between the two. So I have it nulled out in the neutral position for the launch mode. So if we look at that program, you can see offset is 0, weight's 100%, and I have switch set at switch F in the down position for the launch mode. So launch mode. Let's see, we'll back out of that and look at the landing position. So I have changed the offset to 16%. So the elevator will come up 16% for landing mode, for glide mode. So that's going to help to give a little bit of nose up authority, because it's going to be a little bit nose heavy after the motor burns out. And again, using switch F as the switch, going to toggle between them. So we'll back out of that. Let me see, what else do we need to talk about here? I guess the only other thing, and this is just really simple, so not doing anything special on output. Depending on how you set up your servos, you may have to reverse them. Then over on special functions, all I did here was I just set up 2 tracks using the Amber voice. So I have it set up for when the switch F is in the down position, it's going to enunciate launch mode, and when it's in the up position, it will enunciate landing mode. And for me, that's the gear switch, so I'm very used to it being down for landing, and then once I take off, then I flip it up for flight. So it's very common sense, and it'll be second nature for me to use that for the modes for this. Let's see, and I've got the arrow already turned on, so let me back out of this, and we can look at the plane. And with it in launch mode, the the elevons are level. If I give a little bit of up, then you see they work, and they work as ailerons as well. When I want to transition to glide and landing mode, then I flip the switch. We get a little bit of up, and they continue to work as normal, just the offset is 16% up. So I have showed you 2 different ways to set up mode switches for launch and landing, one using the DX9 and this one using an OpenTX system. Both are very simple, 2 different ways to do it, super easy. Once you haven't figured out what to do, it's a 5-minute job to do it. Anyway, I hope this is useful.